If you've been playing Path of Exile 2 for a while, you already know the deal. Most bosses are just speed bumps on your journey. You walk in, press your buttons, maybe dodge once or twice, and it's over on the first attempt. And then there's Mektul, the Forge Master. On paper, he doesn't look scary at all. His mechanics aren't overly complex, and his damage isn't absurd. But the moment the fight starts, you realize this isn't about raw difficulty, it's about the situation you're thrown into. What really makes Mektul dangerous is how restricted you are during the fight. Your usual comfort zone is gone, and suddenly your build doesn't feel as perfect as it did 5 minutes ago. For a lot of players, this is one of those fights where you actually need to stop, rethink things, swap a few support gems, or even respec some passive skills just to make the encounter feel manageable. In this video, I'll walk you through how to deal with Mektul properly, what to watch out for, and how to adapt your build so this simple boss doesn't end up costing you multiple deaths. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. If you are hunting down Mektul, the Forge Master in Path of Exile 2, and are not sure where to start, it is actually pretty straightforward once you know what to look for. Mektul is located inside the Molten Vault, which is part of the Drowned City area. You will naturally get access to this location during Act 3 when you pick up the quest called Treasures of Exile. Once you are in the Drowned City, do not rush through the center of the map. Instead, slowly work your way around the outer edges, and sooner or later, the entrance to the Molten Vault will reveal itself. Now, a small tip from experience before you run straight in. The Molten Vault is easy to miss if you are just following the main path. Hugging the map boundaries is the key here. When you finally find the area, you will know you are on the right track because the environment starts feeling much more intense and hostile. From there, it is only a matter of pushing forward until you reach Mektul himself, and that is where the real challenge begins in your how to defeat the Mektul journey. When it comes to preparing for Mektul, the Forge Master, the important thing to understand is that Mektul himself is not the real threat. His attacks are very clearly telegraphed, they do not hit particularly hard, and once you see them a couple of times, they are easy to dodge. In most attempts, if you die in this fight, it will not be because Mektul outplayed you or overwhelmed you with damage. The real danger starts the moment the fight begins. As soon as Mektul activates the forge inside the Molten Vault, lava starts pouring out and slowly creeping forward. This lava never stops advancing, and the arena does not give you infinite room to retreat. Every second that passes reduces the space you have to maneuver, and that pressure builds up fast if your damage is lacking. Because of this, the fight is essentially on a timer. You are not racing Mektul's health bar alone, you are racing the lava as well. If you take too long, even a perfectly clean execution will not save you. The key to preparing for this encounter is making sure your damage output is high enough to end the fight quickly, before the lava closes in and turns the Molten Vault into your grave. Mektul does not have a huge number of attacks, but recognizing them quickly is what lets you stay aggressive and keep your damage uptime high. Most of his basic moves are slow, clearly telegraphed, and forgiving if you react properly. The key idea here is simple: dodge with purpose, then immediately get back to dealing damage before the lava takes more of your space. His close range attacks are the easiest to deal with. The hammer slam is obvious, with Mektul pulling his arm back before hitting the ground, and a quick sidestep is more than enough to avoid it. The axe slash works in a similar way, where he draws the axe back before swinging across his body. You can dodge backward or roll forward behind him, but be careful because he sometimes follows up with a second slash very quickly. When you try to keep your distance, Mektul responds with a movement and ranged pressure. The leap slam happens when you are far away, and he jumps directly toward your position. Just dodge to either side as he lands and you will be fine. Magma Slam and Magma Slash are his ranged variants, where he charges an arm or swings his axe to send magma across the ground. Both create damaging lines in front of him, and both are best handled by dodging sideways instead of backing up. As the fight progresses, the arena becomes more dangerous. Stalagmites start appearing across the ground, and while they mostly block movement, they become lethal during the detonate attack. When Mektul roars and glows orange, any nearby stalagmites will explode shortly after. This does massive damage, and if multiple explosions overlap, it is almost always fatal. The moment you hear the roar, your only priority should be creating distance. Once Mektul drops to around half health, he adds a few more pressure tools. Magma Circle happens when he plants his hammer and creates a glowing circle that explodes after a short delay. Do not panic here, just dodge toward the nearest edge of the circle. Finally, Magma Walk forces a slower phase where Mektul retreats into the lava and advances while molten rocks roll toward you. Damage windows are smaller during this part, so focus on staying mobile, avoiding obstacles, and getting hits in only when it is safe. When it comes to building your character for Mektul, the most important thing to understand is that survival alone is not enough. If you let the fight drag on and reach the very literal end of the arena, you are going to die no matter how clean your dodging is. This fight is a damage check first and foremost, so your entire setup should be focused on maximizing single target damage in a short window. Some builds will naturally be fine here and can brute force the encounter without many changes. Other builds, especially ones focused on clearing packs or defensive scaling, may need a serious rework. That can mean swapping support gems, changing skill setups, or even refunding passive skills just to squeeze out more damage during the fight. Because Path of Exile 2 has so many possible builds, there is no single perfect setup that works for everyone. That said, there are a few general principles that will help almost every character perform better against Mektul. The first is creating a clear damage interaction that rewards sustained pressure on a single target. A good example of this is pairing Bleed with Bloodlust. If you use an ability supported by Lacerate to apply Bleed to Mektul, you can then repeatedly attack him with a Bloodlust supported skill to gain a large damage bonus. This kind of synergy can dramatically increase your effective damage without needing better gear. Another easy and effective improvement is increasing your attack speed. Putting martial tempo on your most used attack significantly boosts your damage per second, which is exactly what this fight demands. More hits in less time means less lava pressure and fewer dangerous phases to deal with. If you are playing a melee build, close combat is almost always worth using. Mektul spends most of the fight within melee range, and this support gem gives you a consistent damage increase with almost no downside. It is one of the simplest ways to push your damage higher for this encounter. Life Thief is also surprisingly valuable here. Mektul's weaker attacks do not hit very hard, and life recovery on hit allows you to tank through some of them instead of constantly dodging. That extra uptime translates directly into more damage and a faster kill. Finally, once Mektul drops to 35% health, Execute becomes incredibly important. This is the most dangerous part of the fight, where space is limited and mistakes are punished. Having Execute on your main attack helps you finish the fight quickly instead of getting cornered by the lava. On top of that, consider visiting the Hooded one to remove defensive passive skills and reinvest them into offense. Mektul himself is not especially lethal, and that extra damage can be the difference between victory and getting burned alive. When it comes to defeating Mektul, patience is actually your enemy. Unlike most bosses, playing it slow will get you killed here because the lava is always closing in. You need to stay aggressive, keep your damage uptime as high as possible, and only dodge or block when it is absolutely necessary. The goal is to strike a balance where you are constantly pressuring Mektul while still avoiding the big obvious attacks, because every second you hesitate is another step closer to running out of space. Mektul will generally stay engaged wherever you choose to fight him, so use that to your advantage. Every so often, deliberately move backward to pull him away from the advancing lava, and do it by a decent distance rather than inch by inch. Creating that extra space buys you time to stand your ground, fully commit to your damage rotations, and avoid constantly repositioning, which can easily interrupt your attacks and slow the fight down. Most of Mektul's attacks are very easy to avoid, and the natural reaction for a lot of players is to dodge away from danger. The problem with that approach is that every backward dodge creates distance you then have to close again, which costs valuable time and directly lowers your damage uptime during the fight. If you dodge toward Mektul instead, you stay in range and can start attacking again almost immediately. That 1 or 2 seconds you save on each exchange may not feel huge on its own, but over the course of the entire fight, it adds up fast. Consistently dodging into his attacks instead of away from them can be the difference between killing him in time or getting trapped by the lava. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.